The Scandalous and Shocking Life of Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday, also known as Lady Day, was one of the most iconic jazz singers of the 20th century. Her unique voice and emotive performances captivated audiences, but her life was filled with turmoil, scandal, and tragedy. Here are 10 of the most shocking and fascinating facts about her life and career. Number 1. A troubled childhood and youth. Born Eleanora Fagan on April 7, 1915, in Philadelphia, Billie Holiday endured a harsh upbringing that shaped her indomitable spirit. Her father, Clarence Holiday, was a jazz guitarist who abandoned the family shortly after her birth to pursue his music career. Her mother, Sadie Fagan, struggled as a maid to support Billie, often leaving her in the care of relatives. At just 10 years old, Billie faced a horrific ordeal when a neighbor sexually assaulted her. She was sent to the House of the Good Shepherd, a Catholic reform school, for protective custody. Holiday described the experience as a hell I could never forget. In 1928, she and her mother moved to Harlem, New York, in search of better opportunities. Billie, drawn to music, began working as a nightclub singer. Influenced by jazz greats like Louis Armstrong and blues icon Bessie Smith, she developed a unique vocal style. At 18, she caught the attention of renowned producer John Hammond while singing in a club. Hammond later remarked, "Her voice was unlike anything I'd ever heard." This discovery marked the beginning of her rise to fame. Number 2. The song that changed everything, Strange Fruit. In 1939, Billie Holiday recorded Strange Fruit, a haunting protest against the lynching of African Americans in the South. Based on a poem by teacher Abel Meeropol, the song described the gruesome reality of racial violence, with lyrics such as, "Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees." Columbia Records refused to produce the track, fearing backlash, but Holiday's determination led her to Commodore Records. She first performed the song at Café Society, New York's first integrated nightclub. The debut left the audience in stunned silence, with many in tears. Though it became one of her most famous works, it also made her a target for the authorities, who viewed the song as subversive. Despite its controversy, Strange Fruit is now regarded as one of the most important protest songs in history. In 1999, Time magazine named it the Song of the Century. Holiday later reflected, "It's not a song, it's a damn haunting." Number 3. FBI surveillance and targeting. Billie Holiday's fame brought scrutiny from Harry Anslinger, head of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, who was intent on silencing her. Anslinger, infamous for his racial prejudice, considered Holiday a threat due to her performances of Strange Fruit and her defiance of societal norms. He referred to her as a menace to society and began targeting her under the pretext of combating drug use. In 1947, Holiday was arrested for heroin possession and sentenced to a year in Alderson Federal Prison Camp in West Virginia. This conviction cost her the New York City Cabaret card, effectively banning her from performing in clubs, a devastating blow to her career. Anslinger continued to pursue her, assigning agents to shadow her movements. This vendetta was emblematic of the era's intersection of racism, sexism, and systemic abuse of power. Holiday became a symbol of resistance, later inspiring biographical works like The United States vs. Billie Holiday. Number 4. A tumultuous love life. Billie Holiday's personal life was as complex and stormy as her music. In 1941, she married Jimmy Monroe, a trombonist, but their relationship was plagued by infidelity, violence, and addiction. Monroe introduced Billie to opium, exacerbating her struggles. Although they separated after a few years, they never officially divorced. During this time, Billie had a turbulent affair with trumpeter Joe Guy, who also struggled with addiction. Holiday's love life defied conventions of her era. She was romantically linked to women, most notably actress Tallulah Bankhead, a bold and public affair for the time. Their relationship caused a stir in Hollywood, with Bankhead reportedly helping Billie during her legal troubles. However, Bankhead later distanced herself, fearing scandal. Holiday's final marriage to Louis McKay, a manager and alleged mob enforcer, was equally fraught. McKay was accused of physically and financially abusing her, even controlling her earnings and isolating her from friends. Despite the toxicity, he remained with her until her death in 1959. Holiday never had children, a loss she reportedly lamented in her later years. Her chaotic relationships often mirrored the heartbreak and raw emotion she poured into her songs, with tracks like Good Morning Heartache reflecting her personal battles. As Holiday once said, "Love is like a faucet, it turns off and on." Number 5. Addiction and arrests, a sinister theory. Billie Holiday's struggles with addiction and her repeated arrests have sparked a chilling theory: the government orchestrated her downfall and possibly her death. Critics of Harry Anslinger, head of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, suggest that his relentless targeting of Holiday went beyond her heroin use. Some believe that her outspoken performances of Strange Fruit, a song condemning racial violence, made her a political target. Adding fuel to the theory is her tumultuous relationship with Joe Guy, her lover and a fellow heroin user. Some speculate that Guy was planted by authorities to keep Billie addicted and vulnerable. His presence during key moments of her legal troubles and his role in supplying drugs raise suspicions about whether he was complicit in her persecution. Holiday's death in 1959, under police guard in a hospital room where heroin was mysteriously found, is viewed by some as the culmination of this alleged campaign to silence her. While these claims remain unproven, they underscore the systemic racism and targeted oppression she faced during her short, tragic life. Number 6. Financial ruin despite stardom. Despite earning substantial sums during her career, Billie Holiday died almost penniless. Her finances were mismanaged by her husband, Louis McKay, and other associates, while her legal battles and addiction drained her resources. When she passed in 1959, she had only 70 cents in her bank account and $750 hidden in her stocking. Holiday's financial struggles highlighted the systemic exploitation of black artists during the mid-20th century. In an era when contracts heavily favored record labels and managers, Billie was often left with little to show for her immense talent. Number 7. The infamous Lady Sings the Blues. In 1956, Holiday released her autobiography, Lady Sings the Blues, co-written with journalist William Duffy. The book detailed her battles with racism, addiction, and abusive relationships. While some parts were dramatized, the memoir gave readers an unvarnished glimpse into her life. The 1972 film adaptation, starring Diana Ross, reignited public interest in Holiday's legacy. Despite criticism for inaccuracies, it underscored the enduring fascination with her story. As critic Albert Goldman wrote, Billie Holiday lived her pain, then turned it into art. Number 8. Her final days under police guard. In May 1959, Billie Holiday was admitted to Metropolitan Hospital in New York City for heart and liver complications. Even in her final moments, she was pursued by the authorities. Police found heroin in her hospital room and placed her under guard. On July 17, 1959, Holiday succumbed to her illness at just 44 years old. Her last words were reportedly, "I'll be singing forever." Fans and friends mourned the loss of an artist whose voice had moved millions despite relentless persecution. Number 9. Posthumous recognition. Though she faced discrimination during her lifetime, Holiday's posthumous honors cemented her legacy. In 1973, she was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame for Strange Fruit. She received a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2000, and her work continues to influence modern musicians. Songs like God Bless the Child and Loverman remain iconic, proving her lasting impact on jazz and popular music. Biographer Donald Clark remarked, "No one ever sang, or will ever sing, like Billie Holiday." Number 10. Hollywood's portrayals and controversy. Holiday's life has inspired numerous films and biographies, the most notable being Lady Sings the Blues, 1972, and The United States vs. Billie Holiday, 2021. The latter, starring Andra Day, focused on her FBI persecution and struggles with addiction. While the film was praised for its candid portrayal, it also sparked debates about sensationalizing her pain. Holiday's life remains a compelling narrative of talent, resilience, and tragedy, a story that continues to captivate audiences decades after her death.